All right, check 1 2. What's going on, guys? This is your boy Ivan Casares here, coming to you guys live with the Time Talk podcast. And today I get to interview my childhood friend, colleague, buddy, Rigo Romanillo.
Sade. That's what I feel like I should talk like when my name is Greg.
Dude, so this is crazy. So I've known Rigo and his family for pretty much my whole life, right? I think we met him through church, and his mom actually used to babysit me, and so it's pretty kind of crazy. It's a small world. It's crazy how we reconnected, right? Because I knew Rigo he was like one of my buddies back in the day, but I think I was like 5, so you must have been 3.
Dude, I was like 2 or 3.
2 or 3, yeah, and I was 5 or 6, so it's crazy, right? So we grew up together a little bit, in that space, and then after that, we reconnected after high school.
Yeah.
You have already were doing your thing, and you wanted to get into the real estate space, and so now we're working together.
Yeah, I remember the kind of the catalyst that prompted me to actually getting into looking how I can get my real estate license was I was managing City Plaza, those apartments down the street.
Okay, yeah.
They're newer ones.
Yeah.
And I posted we were having an open house, and you responded on Instagram like, "Oh, you're an agent?" And I was like, "No, I'm not. I just do property management." And you're like, "Get your license."
Yeah.
And I remember from there, I was like, you know what? I should get my license.
No way.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Dude, it's so funny because I'm always telling people to get their license. I'm like, get your license. It's like such
someone actually did it now.
Yeah. No, I've had people roll up literally all right, man, I got my license. What do I do now? I'm like, oh, shoot. Okay. Well, let's get it. Let's do this. So that's cool, man. I didn't know that. So that's rad. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man. So I wanted to just talk a little bit about, I think today the subject I want to talk about is just Airbnb, right? It's a new, I won't say it's a new thing, but it's definitely something that's happening. It's newer in the sense that
it's blowing up.
It's blowing up. You and I come from the space of doing property management, right? And so you're still doing it. I manage my own properties. And so for the people that are listening, so I grew up, I started in this industry with the property management space. And so what I mean by that is when I first started, I was managing properties. I was helping managing properties. I was doing a lot of tenant placement. I was showing properties. I was doing a lot of that. I was the runner for showing properties when I first started real estate. And I did that for about, I'd say 3 to 4 years. And it was great. I learned a lot about property management, but pretty quickly I realized I don't want to do this. This is a lot of work.
It's a lot, man.
Yeah. Right. And the pay is not the best, right? If you're a property manager,
right.
If you start getting to a space where you're getting $75, $100, then you're starting to make some real money, right? And so at that time, I was just kind of the gopher. I was just doing that, but it was a lot of good experience.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think it's really cool because me and you both got our Airbnbs about the same time.
Yeah, man. I remember. Right around I think it was you closed on yours
in November.
Yeah, a month before mine.
Yeah. And you closed in December.
I closed in December.
Yeah. And so let's talk about that. So you manage, how many properties do you manage right now?
So I manage 38 doors between single family residences and multifamily.
Dude, that's nuts.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. I don't know how you do it. How many kids do you have?
3.
Dude, that alone, man. It's wild, bro.
It's nuts.
That's so crazy.
But that's why it's important to have systems in place. Because now I still get busy with property management, but I'm not full time in it, because I already have that network set up where I have a handyman here. Because it's I manage North County, and I also have properties I manage in San Diego.
Wow.
So I have to have a handyman for North County, a plumber for North County, and then someone for San Diego, and then I pretty much have especially in the multifamily, because single family residences, I know from experience, there's more pride of ownership.
Yeah.
There's not as many problems, and you're not called as much,
True.
But in multifamily, you get one unit has a problem and it affects multiple units.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it's a lot more. So when on the multifamily side, if you have someone that's there and you kind of empower them to be hey, you're kind of the boss here, and they're reliable tenants and they're responsible, and they can kind of be oh, this is going on, or hey, can you give this notice to this person, can you serve them? Yeah. So that's definitely helped, because I wouldn't be able to do real estate full time and property management full time.
Yeah.
And like now you have 3 kids, dude.
Yeah.
So you know what it's like, man.
Oh, yeah. And running the Airbnb.
Yeah, man.
Dude, that's crazy, bro. So let me ask you this, because this just kind of came to my mind real quick. Like, do you charge people, like, say if they say, hey, I have a 3 unit, are you going to charge them a little bit more than you would a single family residence?
Depending on my relationship with that investor.
Yeah.
And also if it's only one property that I'm managing for them, I give them a different price than if it's multiple properties.
Okay.
So I kind of package that differently.
Of course. Yeah. Give them a package deal.
Yeah. But most of the time my rates for like multifamily definitely are more because it's just more time consuming.
Yeah. And it's more people that you're managing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Dude, that's wild. Okay, so you're managing 38 properties. You're doing that. You're doing real estate, which, by the way, he's like killing. He's doing really good. So half the time I'm like, where the heck is Rigo? Like, that's like always our joke around the office. Like, where's Rigo?
Hashtag find Rigo.
Hashtag find Rigo. You know, but the man is clearly working, right? He's not only is he managing properties, he's selling homes, you know, raising a family, which is amazing, and then running the Airbnb.
Yeah.
And dude, that's awesome because, you know, for me, like I personally manage my rentals, you know, and that's thankfully, like you said, it's kind of like already in place. There's not a whole lot of work I have to do there.
Right.
But then the Airbnb, like my wife handles that, right? Like that's her little project, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, what she's managing there is a lot more than I'm doing with, you know, the 6 stores that I have here.
Oh, yeah, man.
And it's funny because, you know, it's like, she's like, I don't know how you manage those properties. I only manage one. And I'm like, you know, it's work.
It's because people don't understand that it's different, man. Like,
yeah.
Like you're in the hospitality business.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to get an Airbnb and I'm just going to, you know, put it on the website, the app, and then, oh, I'll just make money.
Yeah.
You know? No, man. Like you need to make sure that your guests are having a good experience. That
right.
you're, because it's a genius concept because it's ratings both ways. You know? Mm-hmm. So like when you have an inquiry, or in my case, I have instant booking.
Yeah.
They book, I get to see the ratings they have, and it keeps them accountable.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, you as a host, you need to make sure that your stuff is up to par too, because they keep you accountable with ratings on the cleanliness, on the communication, on the check-in, just like overall like accuracy. Like you post a photo that you have like a big yard, and they get there and it's like a tiny little thing, they're gonna write about that.
Wow.
Like, oh, this isn't accurate.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So it's a lot more in that than like single family long-term rentals.
Yeah. Dude, that's so crazy. So just so that for the listeners who are listening, so, you know, Rigo and I got our properties around the same time, literally a month apart. And it's really cool too, because one of the things that we want to do with this episode is just, you know, empower, educate, right? There's 2 different things that we're both doing. So he's managing his space in San Diego, Normal Heights?
Normal Heights, yeah.
Normal Heights. Yeah. And then the property that I got is in Big Bear, right? And so, you know, I think there's definitely not a right way or a wrong way. Well, I would say there is a right way and a wrong way, right?
Yeah, there is.
But it's really cool because, you know, Rigo is actually managing it himself. So you're the actual host, or I'm actually a co-host. And so for the people that are listening that are interested in Airbnb, the difference is that Rigo's the go-to guy, right? And even though he has systems and people in place, he's the guy that's managing it and checking people in and doing all that. Where, you know, the other way that you can do Airbnb is you make a little less. That's a sacrifice that I take, is I pay somebody to manage, essentially my property manager, but I am a co-host. And so I think what I want to share with this was very important that I had to learn the hard way is, you know, if you're going to do Airbnb, you have to think about it. You can be the host, right, the super host that Rigo is, or you can be a co-host, which is totally fine, you know. But I want to just encourage our listeners, guys, if you're listening to this, you have to figure out how much time you have available.
Yes.
Right? Because if you already have another business and you're working full time, maybe you don't want to be the host, right? Because Rigo is obviously in that space, so it works for him. He's already managing calls, he's taking calls, he's in that space, so it's a little bit easier for him to do so.
Right.
But if you're completely brand new and you've never managed a property and this is your first time, you know, hey, I might recommend be a co-host, right? That might be an easier way to start off. And then maybe as you know, get experience and as you handle that space and you figure that out, maybe you can say, all right, I want to manage it on my own, or you know what, it's okay. I want to step back and still have the property manager.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's important to understand your limits, you know, like in the sense of,
your time,
your effort. Like I know you're a super busy dude. You have a lot going on. You have, so many clients. You're running a team.
Yeah.
Like you have now this Airbnb. You have all these businesses. So like for you, it's definitely like I just want to have hands off. Like I just want to make sure that it's taken care of correctly. Because I know that you could do it, but it would be a lot more effort on your end, and it's easier to start slipping up and not being able to run it the way it should.
Yeah.
Because you have all these things going on.
Yeah.
And in my case, I know that like same thing. I actually had talked to Zuri, my wife, about, hey, do you want to run it and this and that? But Zuri, dude, is like in the trenches right now, bro.
Zuri's a beast, man.
She really
Zuri,
is.
I know you're gonna be listening to this.
Zuri,
like, you're amazing,
baby girl. I love you. 3 kids, dude. It's 3 kids, 5, 2-year-old, and then baby girl just turned 1. So.
And let me add to this real quick, right? Let's big shout out to the mamas, because
for real,
big shout out to mamas, because their work goes sometimes unnoticed. Like, not only is Zuri just being an amazing wife, killing it there with the kids, like handling that, like her mom doesn't live here, her sisters don't live here.
Yeah,
like she's out here a lone trooper. So
for real. Her parents, her mom, all her family is in Minnesota. Yeah. So it's not like they can just come down.
They can't, they can't just have mom come over, sister help, brother help. So yeah, she's out there doing that. So yeah, so she has her hands full. Clearly, she's already working a full-time job.
For real, that is a full-time job.
That's a full-time
Moms,
job.
Don't let anyone tell you that's not a full-time job.
No, that's extra. She's doing overtime.
Oh, for real.
So she's doing that, and so you decide, okay, I'm going to manage this. And now that you're doing this, do you feel like you can still like? I know that we've talked about this, like getting another Airbnb. Would you feel like you would handle that, or would you get a property manager?
I think it depends on the kind of property I get.
Yeah.
So I feel like I found the sweet spot, and at least what I was trying to do in Airbnb, which is like the location and the size. So like I'm not in a place that's like super busy, like somebody books it one day and then leaves the next, or like 2 days and leaves the next. Normally my bookings are like 4 to 6 days, at a time.
It makes sense because it's a vacation. People come to San Diego to stay here for at least a period of time, at least a weekend.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So it's rare for me to have I have a 2-night minimum stay set up on mine.
Yep.
But I hardly ever have just 2 nights.
Yeah.
It's 3, 4, 5 because it's in an area where it's residential. It's still like a neighborhood.
Yeah.
But it's also close to everything.
Yeah, walking distance.
Yeah, and then a big thing for me was like I made it like I have a high chair for a baby, and so like they can bring their infants. I haven't brought I thought about maybe putting a crib, but I'm like, oh, I don't know, like.
Yeah, no, I think the high chair is just enough.
That's like good, so they can a family will come. Usually a family doesn't come for like 1 or 2 days if they're coming for vacation, right?
Do you allow pets?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do allow pets, just because like. The way my Airbnb is set up, it kind of works for that, where I have like turf outside and it's in a very pet-friendly neighborhood. That's like a big thing. It's not like a super busy street, it's still very neighborhoody, but it's accessible to like all the cool stuff that San Diego has to offer, right? Within like 15, 20 minutes.
That's so cool.
But if I were to buy a second one, and I had it in like a beach town, where it's like on the beach. Yeah. It's a little different because a lot of people just want to come to the beach for like a weekend.
Oh, that makes sense, yeah.
And it's a lot more work, I feel, because then people will bring in
towels,
sand,
cleaning.
the cleaning, all that. So I feel like if I were to do another one, I'd kind of want to do the same thing where it's like a house that's, made for like a family.
In the city.
Right, yeah. So, but... that's all, there's a lot of variables you have to take into account, because it might be completely different,
Yeah.
So I think I would still try to manage it, but I think it would probably have to be me in the middle of it to see if I can handle both of them and then hire someone.
Yeah. Dude, that's so cool. So for the listeners, when Rigo bought his property, man, I think you really struck gold. Like that is so, like he struck gold. Like God's good because he got an Airbnb that was already an Airbnb. Like it was already an existing business. So he bought it fully furnished. It was fully renovated. And so it was great because you were able to like plug and go, like, right? Like it was still, I'm sure, like a learning curve having to learn that business because that was your first Airbnb.
Yeah.
So it was still a learning curve, but it was great because you were able to just like get and go. And so let me ask you this. So thinking about buying the next property, would you want to buy something that was already an Airbnb? Because I'm thinking about this, right? I'm thinking about like, man, like I love this Airbnb space.
Yeah.
And I had to do it the opposite way. I had to start from it was kind of technically an Airbnb, but mine was outdated. It was like, it was just for friends and family. It wasn't really a running business.
Yeah, no, man. Like from seeing the pictures, like you guys completely did like made that place like awesome.
Yeah.
And like I know the way you guys set it up, it wasn't like that.
No. And so, I think about like like now I'm like, I look at the success that you've had a lot faster than what I'm catching up to. It's I'm like, man, like that's something that I would love to find a property that's already kind of set up, right? That has already done the work, that's come fully furnished. Because I'm like, dude, that's freaking amazing.
Yeah, I feel like I would want to do that, you know, but just because a lot of people are catching on to like that vacation rentals, short-term rentals are like so profitable.
It's the way to go, man.
Yeah, so like it's hard to find those. Like I really did, like it was by the grace of God that I was able to get this one. And
what were you thinking? You thinking about getting another in San Diego, or were you thinking?
Definitely, man. Yeah, I feel like just San Diego's so coveted, a lot of people like coming here, especially like with events like Comic-Con is coming up in July. People from literally all over the world come to Comic-Con.
That's so crazy. We forget that where we live is so special. Like we forget people 100%. Vacation where we live. Like I forget, and I'm like, because my wife's, I'm over here looking at Airbnbs and like, Palm Springs and like Havasu. My wife's like, no, like no more further away. Like let's do something here. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. People vacation here.
A little staycation.
Yeah. So that's cool, man. So running that, what advice would you want to give to the listeners that are listening that say, hey, I want to start my first Airbnb? Obviously, the first one, give you a call to find the property, right? Yeah. Shout out. He's a real estate agent. So
shout out, yeah. I had a really good agent to find mine. So.
Yeah.
I think the biggest advice is you need to make sure that you research the location that you're looking at. I think you can't just buy an Airbnb and because you make it look good or you make it seem like, a lot of people say it's like, oh, it's Instagram worthy, like because people like going and like, checking out places in Airbnb and have like little photo ops and post it on their social media. And that's great. But if it's not in a place where people want to go, no matter how cool it looks, people aren't going to go there. It's not going to get booked. So location is huge. Okay. Like yours, Big Bear. Yeah. A lot of people go there. You know, like they go snowboarding. There's things to do there. Yeah. San Diego, the closer you get to downtown, the better. Mm-hmm. Right. So location is a big thing. Another really big thing is having a reliable cleaner. Yeah. That's huge, man. Huge. Yeah. And that's something you have to have in place, I feel like, beforehand. It's definitely important to have that in mind. Yeah. Yeah. And, all of that, you budget into it, Yeah.
So location, having a cleaner, and then I think also one is having a handyman. Oh, yes. Right? So if you're going to be buying and maybe not your city or maybe not in your state, like you have to make sure, guys, that you have a cleaner. Not only maybe just one cleaner, have like a backup cleaner because people get sick, things happen, and also have a handyman, have 2-3 handymen that you can count on. And especially if you're going to be out of state, maybe someone that's recommended through a property manager, through a real estate agent that has already been verified, checked out, that says, hey, this is a good handyman. Yeah. Right. Because I think that's a big key thing that, if something breaks at like 2:30 in the morning, like, and you're in California and your property's in, Nashville, like you're going to be struggling there. Yeah. It's going to be difficult. Yeah. For sure. So dude, so that's amazing, man. So having the right systems in place, having the right people in place to make sure that you can delegate, but that they can help you can fill in while you're out is crucial to having an Airbnb. And then obviously location. How do you feel about the new thing that they just passed limiting Airbnbs here in San Diego? Does that scare you, or how do you feel about that? I feel like something that people need to understand, it's in the city of San Diego. Yeah. So for example, Oceanside, that doesn't apply. Yeah. It's not in the city of San Diego. Yeah. My Airbnb is in the city of San Diego, so it does apply. Yeah. So what they're saying is they're going to do a lottery system, but I think it's kind of like, how can I explain it? Like Airbnb as a platform has come out and said, hey, we're not going to enforce this, right? Yeah. We're not going to, there's no way to really enforce, like, how are they going to limit all this? Now, I'd understand why they want to do this, because there are Airbnbs that are used, like huge houses that are used just to have like ragers. Yeah. And the neighbor's like, there's like a party every weekend. Yeah. So I understand that. So I feel like that's going to be good for that problem. Yeah. So I feel like the officials that are going to be hired by the government to
have this being taken care of,
Yeah.
are they going to focus on that? So I'm not too worried about mine, for example.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be, if it's done right, it could be good for hosts, and also it's going to create inventory, for the ones that do have that, have big houses that they rent out and they have parties and stuff like that. Is it going to create a lot more inventory for the market? So I feel like if we look at it the right way, it could be a good thing. Definitely.
Be a positive thing. Yeah. I never thought about that. That's great that we're talking about this, because it's actually the first time we've had this conversation.
Yeah.
You're right. Some of these bigger homes, if you got a big home, you're going to get a big crowd. It's just simple as that.
Yeah.
No one's going to rent, an 8-bedroom house if it's one person.
Exactly.
It's going to be, multiple families. It's going to be a party. So yeah, I can see why some of these bigger homes are the ones that are a nuisance to the neighbors. Those are the ones that the people are complaining, because you're hosting a party essentially. No one's going to get a big house for a single family.
Yeah.
Exactly. Unless you're Rigo and Ivan that have 3 kids each.
Yeah, man. Unless you took that be fruitful and multiply stuff really seriously.
Yeah, man. Catching up, bro. Catching up. So still need the girl.
Hey, man.
Yeah, man. So that's so cool, dude. Well, dude, I think that's great, guys. If you guys are looking to invest specifically or in San Diego, give Rigo a call. He obviously is not only a property manager, but does Airbnb, has experience with investing in multi-units. And so we're here to help. We want to be a resource to you guys, and definitely, talking about Airbnbs as a space, something that I love chatting, because it's something that to me, it's still new. I won't say that I have mastered it by no means, right? I'm still learning how to perfect things, how to make things better, how to make our properties more attractive. And it's pretty cool that we get to, mastermind and kind of figure out like what you're doing, what I'm doing. What's another tip that you're doing right now that you could give a tip to maybe somebody that has an Airbnb that's coming into the summer months, that you would tell them how to get their property more noticeable?
I think.
Do you play with the rates?
I do.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to talk about.
Yeah.
So I forgot the name. It's like a program. I pay $15 a month.
Okay.
To have, and shout out to Ernest Romero, because he's the one that got me onto Airbnb. Because I was looking to buy a multifamily.
Yeah.
And he was like, bro, check out Airbnbs.
Does Ernest run Airbnbs himself?
Yeah, he actually started, he has a cleaning company. He started cleaning them.
Okay.
And then he saw how profitable it was.
Yeah.
So then he got one too. So it's crazy. So shout out to Ernest.
Yeah.
Love you, dude. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And he put me on this program that basically reads the algorithm of people searching in your area, what the rates are, and it pulls them all together. And it basically on its own will fluctuate the rates according to the area and the demand.
Wow.
So if it's a week where it's like really slow, it'll adjust the rates down, right?
Yeah.
And you put in a maximum if you want to, and you put a minimum.
Yeah.
Right? So I already set my minimum. I don't put a maximum because like I said, Comic-Con, July is crazy. Like crazy.
Way.
Yeah. Like people will pay $500 a night for a little 1-bedroom studio. Yeah. Because like it's just such a huge event in San Diego.
That's mind blowing.
Yeah. So it's
so in your description, do you put like book for Comic-Con like week, or do you have to do that, or?
I don't. I feel like I should, like I don't change up the description very much, but I've seen Airbnbs that do that, and it is successful. So I should try that out. Just changing it up a little bit, because it also pushes you to the top of the page.
Yeah, right. I've heard of that. I've heard that from a different podcast that I was listening to, that, if it's summer, like they'll use like summer words like, hey, come use this house for your summer break or for spring break, or, this house is perfect, fresh powder this week. And so it's like, if you're, whatever it is, you're like, see that, and like, oh yeah, that's right, I need to book that.
Buzzwords and stuff. Yeah. So it's actually, I need to get on that, but I can't remember the name of the program, but it's a program you pay $15 a month.
Okay.
And it'll basically do like the rates for you.
Okay. We'll put in the link, guys. So once we figure out what that name of that app is or whatever. So that's cool. Yeah. Again, I don't, our property manager does the work for us. So he's the one kind of controlling the prices. He knows what our minimum is. And so, we give him that flexibility of doing that for us. But again, we're paying him a service. And so when you hire a property manager, the going rate is anywhere from 15 to 20%. So I share that with the listeners, is that's what I pay. I actually pay this property manager a 15% fee. But, the last property manager that we were paying up to a 30% management fee. And they were garbage.
And I remember you telling me about that, man.
So, that's a different podcast that we can talk about. But yeah, I just wanted to share with you guys, like, there's different ways to run this Airbnb business, but that's realistic fees that you're going to pay for. So to us, it's that peace of mind that we have somebody, especially because we're a little bit further away. Our properties in Big Bear, we can't necessarily drive over there. We don't have handymen in place. Like, we do, but they're not necessarily like, friends or family members that we know that can help us run that. So, it's just something else that you have to keep in mind if you're going to be investing in a different city where you're not living in. But cool, man. Well, I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you sharing some knowledge here. I think we should just keep this going because I know we're going to be learning a lot more with our Airbnbs. And
definitely.
I definitely think this is something that, if you are an investor out there, guys, right now, I really think this is a space that I'm encouraging a lot of my clients that, like, hey, Airbnb is a way to go. Again, this is my first one that I've personally bought, but just seeing the great success is something that I want to see if my other clients have this success. And I really definitely think there's plenty of business for everybody.
Yeah.
I'm in that mindset of like, there's an abundance. And other people are coming to California. People are coming to different states. So it's like, if you guys are looking to invest, we can also help you, put you in the right contact with other agents in that specific marketplace. So guys, reach out to us if you're looking to invest. Whether it's California or out of state, we can put you in contact with the right agent. So
definitely, 100%.
All righty, guys. Well, hey, hope you guys have an amazing day. Thank you guys for listening. Please tag someone that's interested in investing in Airbnb. Please tag someone that needs to hear this. And hope you guys have an amazing day. Take care.
Peace.